MTK Budapest are the second most successful club in Hungary, having won the league title 23 times and the Hungarian Cup 12 times. Unlike other Hungarian sides, MTK have also had relative success in Europe, where they became the first Hungarian side to reach a major European final in 1964. They did go on to lose to Sporting Lisbon 1-0 in the UEFA Cup Winners Cup playoff after the first game ended in a 3-3 draw. Together with a rich history, they also have had relatively recent success, finishing runners-up of the MB1 in 2007, and they even won the title in 2003 and 2008. However, MTK now find themselves in the second tier of Hungarian football and have been well renowned for forcing their young talent out of the club to try and turn a profit. Lacking the big fan base of other Budapest teams, MTK have compromised with the fact that they cannot be what they used to be, more recently in the 90s. This, though, doesn't change the fact that their three initials are stamped into Hungary's football history in golden letters. Our goal today is very simple. We are going to try and take this team from the second tier of Hungarian football back to the top and try and install some new glory days to this club. Looking at MTK in-game, you can really see why they used to be a former champion. Decent stadium, solid facilities, and perfect youth recruitment. Their history speaks for itself, but to kickstart this rebuild, we will be in the second tier of Hungarian football, as we will play in the Mercantil Bank Liga, a league which is ranked lower than Sky Bet League 2 in the European rankings. We will be using GYR's recently released Shatter tactic in today's rebuild, and this is how the team will look in that particular shape. There is a good strength throughout the spine of the team, with key players mostly in their second spells at the club. We have Kali Tiam, who is our rock at the back with great physical and mental attributes and is a good player for this division. He was actually at MTK back in 2014 all the way through to 2018. In the cam spot, we have Estvan Bognar, who will be the creative hub of this team. Not the best physically, but now he's 31, he has 16 free kick taking and 17 vision to unlock defenses. And then up top we have Christian Nemeth, who is a fully fledged Hungarian international, but age 33, I don't think he will be in the squad much longer. He was at the club as a youth prospect before an undisclosed fee transfer to Liverpool in 2007. We are heavy favourites to win the league following relegation the previous season and have been given 1-5 on odds to get the job done. The board are expecting automatic promotion this season and have ambitious goals for the rest of the save, considering they want to develop the best youth system in the country. Flash forward to the end of the season and you can see we picked up some nice results as we comfortably strolled to the second tier title. We finished the league winning 30 of our 38 games, securing 96 points and a goal difference of +69. Nice. Shout out to Nemeth, who continued to decline physically, but managed to top the league's goal scoring and assisting charts. He was able to contribute 26 goals and 14 assists in all competitions in his first season back at the club. In the Hungarian Cup, we managed to progress through the early rounds of the competition with a comfortable 8-0 victory in the first round and a 2-1 victory in the second round and a 4-1 victory against Budapest Honved in the third round. This saw us reach the quarter-final stage where we take on non-league Debrecen on the road. The home side opened the scoring early, but goals from Nemeth and Bognar saw us gain control of the tie. However, the non-league side equalised with a nice set-piece routine to take the game to extra time, where luckily our overall quality saw us get through the game as Nemeth and Spelek both scored to see us progress. This sets up a semi-final tie against Újpest, and this time we were at home. One of these teams finished 6th in the top tier of Hungarian football this season, and the other was in the second tier, but you'd be hard pushed to see which side is which. We dominated the game from the first minute. Nemeth opened the scoring inside 60 seconds, and we managed to add 3 more goals with 3 different goal scorers without a reply to coast into the Hungarian Cup final. This was going to be the first Cup final appearance for MTK since the 2011-2012 season, and we'd be taking on Puskás Akadémia, the team who won the Hungarian top division this season. It was a tight affair, but Matej Baloch popped up with the only goal of the game in the 86th minute to see us lift the cup for the first time since the 1999-2000 season. So it was promotion and a cup win in season 1. This gives me a lot of optimism for the rest of this rebuild. Going into next season, we have a transfer budget of £1.2 million, and our wage budget will double for next season as we return to the top flight. We gambled going into season number 2 as we actually released our main man from last season, Christian Nemeth. However, we were active in the transfer market, bringing in a total of 10 players. I felt like I needed some defensive reinforcements this season, so we brought in Brian Passy for 550k and Guy Marcelin Kilama for 350k, who both arrived from Ligue 2 side Nort. For the left wing, we picked up Ezekiel Vidal on a free transfer, and he looks like a great step up in that area of the pitch, and we will be leaning on him heavily for creativity in the final third. Up front, we signed Donat Barane to fill that Nemeth-sized hole. He's young and capped by the Hungarian under-21s, and is a much more mobile option up top. Several of the summer additions come into the starting 11, which will look like this going into the season. Competitions-wise, we return to the OTP Bank Liga, and we will be looking to defend our Hungarian Cup. However, because we won the cup last season, we will be playing Europa Conference League football as we enter into the second qualifying round, where we face Tobol from Kazakhstan. League-wise, we were expected to finish mid-table and with title odds of 50-1, so people were obviously taking note of our good season last year. Let's start by talking about our Conference League performance. First up was the trip away to Kazakhstan to take on Tobol, where we were 2-0 up in a game that eventually finished 2-2, but I felt like we showed enough to win this tie back in Hungary. And that is exactly what we did, but it did go to extra time. Zach Viner cancelled out an early penalty for the visitors before Nicolas Moringo scored twice in extra time to send us through to the next round. This is where we'd face Israeli side Maccabi Haifa, and this time we were at home in the first leg. The visitors opened the scoring in the game, but our overall quality gave us an advantage as we eventually ran out 5-2 winners with 4 different goal scorers and an own goal. This gave us a nice lead to take into the away leg, but we picked up where we left off and won the game 3-2 on the road, meaning we scooped an 8-4 aggregate victory. We then had one final hurdle before making it into the Conference League proper, and that was Zroya from Ukraine. We were back on the road in the first leg, and we were even winning the game for large spells before the home side pulled level with just 15 minutes of the game remaining. Back in Budapest, the game was settled by a single goal from Nicolas Moringo, but we qualified for the Europa Conference League. The competition was still in its group stage format, and we were drawn against Lille, Club Brugge, and KF Shekandia from North Macedonia. This was always going to be a bit of a baptism of fire, and we lost every single game apart from the home leg against the Macedonians, meaning we finished rock bottom of Group F. But this was good experience for the team. However, domestically, we had a spectacular season. We had a wobbly start in the league, but soon found our feet and ended the season strong with 9 straight wins, where we only conceded 5 goals. To my surprise, this meant that we secured the league title for the first time in 15 years, winning the league by 9 points. The league win actually means we will be part of next season's Champions League qualifying. And our defense of the Hungarian Cup got off to a flyer, with us progressing through the early rounds with comfortable victories. Upon reaching the quarterfinals, we renewed our rivalry with Budapest Honvéd, but we managed to secure a 3-0 victory without really breaking a sweat. In the semi-final, we played Zalaegerszki, who we snuck by with a cheeky 1-0 win. This meant back-to-back cup finals, and this time we were taking on the giant from Budapest, Ferencváros. The game kicked into life in the 15th minute as Ferencváros saw Marquinhos sent off for his terrible challenge, and with the extra man advantage, we were really able to assert our dominance. We managed to bag 4 second-half goals with the opposition tiring to run out 4-1 winners and lift back-to-back Hungarian Cups and complete a historic domestic double. Unsurprisingly, the board were ecstatic with our performance this season, but didn't exactly reward me, only giving me just shy of 800k in transfer budget and £13,000 a week in the wage budget. Roll on season 3. Money was tight as we ventured into season 3, but we did manage to add 10 new faces to the club, with every single one of them arriving on a free transfer. Ciro Rozan joined from Argentinian side San Lorenzo and adds key depth to our midfield. Colombian Alejandro Morales has joined to give us a bit more steel at the back. And up top, we've picked up Rocco Butrena from rivals Ferencváros to be a big brute and give us a different option up front. This is the best 11 going into the opening day of the season, but you will notice that we have several players still on trial, including Ronnie Lopez and Aaron Connolly. But we're going to face some stiff competition for their signatures. Season 3 sees us make our debut in the Champions League, which will be very interesting, and we enter in the second qualifying round where we will take on a team from Bosnia. Domestically, we have the league and the cup, as we will be looking to retain both this season. Looking at the league, we're predicted to finish in 4th with title odds of 11-1. Seems like the media believe winning the league last season might have been a fluke. We were dominant again domestically and even kicked off the season with a 7-0 demolition of one of the newly promoted sides. We secured back-to-back titles, but this time we won the league by 11 points, securing Champions League football for another season. Big Rocco had a fantastic season for us, netting 20 times in the league and 30 times in all competitions, and he is now wanted by Girona. Enzo Lombardo was the top assister in the league with 15 throughout the season, but sadly he's now out injured with a torn hamstring. After back-to-back cup victories, I'm sure you're expecting another great performance here. Well, sadly, you'd be wrong. We advanced through the first couple of rounds with relative ease and then came up against Mol Ferrovar in the 5th round. Palko Daradai gave them the lead, but Gabriel Gori was able to fire us into the lead with 2 back-to-back goals. Milos Pantovic equalised with 10 minutes to go to send the game into extra time. That 30 minutes came and went with not much happening, so the game was to be decided on penalties. Each side were trading penalties until January signing Liam Henderson saw his penalty saved, which gave the opposition the chance to settle the tie, which they definitely did. That saw us crash out of the domestic cup early, but we still have the Champions League to talk about. We had to qualify for the tournament and we were on the road in Bosnia first. We managed to secure a 2-0 win on the road, which was just as well because in Budapest, Zach Weiner saw himself sent off in the first half and we actually lost the game 1-0 on the night, but luckily progressed 2-1 on aggregate. The next round threw up Dunajskia from Slovakia, and this time we were at home first. The first leg was an absolute goal fest which saw 6 goals in the match. Tristan Osmani bagged the brace for us with Spalek and Nagy putting their names on the score sheet to see us run out 4-2 winners. In Slovakia, we suffered a 2-1 defeat, but managed to drag ourselves through 5-4 on aggregate. The Champions playoffs saw us take on Dinamo Zagreb from Croatia, and we were back on the road in the first leg. Matej Baloch and Alejandro Morales both scored in the game to give us a 2-goal lead to take back to Hungary. Ezequiel Vidal extended that lead in the home leg, and we ran out 3-1 winners on aggregate, which meant we'd be in the Champions League phase. Opponents-wise in the league phase, it was a mixed bag as we'd take on Liverpool, Bodo Glimt, Celtic, RB Leipzig, Habbo Beersheva, Club Brugge, Juventus, and Dortmund. This was an up and down set of fixtures for us, actually picking up some wins, including a 1-0 win against Liverpool at home, and we managed to finish in the league phase on 11 points and finish in 21st place, meaning we qualified for the knockout stages. However, this is where our heroic run would come to an end as we took on Atletico Madrid. We were at home in the first leg, but the Spanish side dominated the game and were able to get goals through Depay, Morata, Felix and De Paul to take a 4-2 lead back to the Metropolitano. In the second leg, we didn't offer much at all and lost 2-0 on the night and losing the tie 6-2 on aggregate. Even with this extended run in the Champions League, our board only gave me a grade B for the season, which I felt was a little bit harsh. The Champions League has, however, given us an absolute war chest going into Season 4, as we have over £22 million in the bank and a transfer budget of £17 million and an extra £60,000 a week in our wage budget. Last season's Champions League funds really enabled us to be aggressive in this summer transfer window. We were able to bring in 8 players for a total of £9 million, which is absolutely crazy money for Hungary. Ricardinho was the most expensive of the bunch, joining the club from Levski Sofia. He joined for £2.7 million to replace the outgoing Rocco, who departed for Spain. We also acquired the Levski Sofia goalkeeper Plamen Andreev for £1.6 million, and this is a huge upgrade in that position. Jeffinho comes in from French side Lyon to act as great squad depth as he can play in 3 key positions, and also he has a fantastic name. And finally, we picked up Serge Aurier following his release from Nottingham Forest, and he will add much needed experience at the level we are now playing at. This is how the team looks for this season, and I have to say this is probably the most balanced this team has been in this save so far, and we're ready to head into all of our competitions. Competitions wise, we have the same 3 comps as last season, and we will enter the Champions League in the second qualifying round yet again. The board have high hopes for this season and are expecting a win in the Hungarian Cup and require a top 2 finish in the league. Looking at the preseason odds, we're predicted to come in second, but it's closer than we have been in any of the seasons so far, and we now have 4 players in the Media Dream 11 in Andriy, Ferezi, Lacuna and Guri. Domestically, we continued our domination of the league, winning a 3rd straight league title, and this time it was by our largest margin so far. We finished the league with only 3 losses all season and managed to get a total of 84 points and win the league by 15 points. Domestic dominance shouldn't come as a surprise, as thanks to the Champions League money we've been getting, we are now the highest paying club in Hungary and have over 10 times the net spend of the next highest team. In the Hungarian Cup, we managed to progress, but the 3rd round was tougher tthan you'd expect, as Dibas Guillaume pushed us all the way into extra time. We then progressed through the 4th and 5th rounds with relative ease, before the craziest game of FM I have seen in a long time. We were at home to Molfedovar in a game that saw the ball hit the back of the net 15 times. 3 players in the game managed to pick up hat-tricks, with Lele Diagani going off and scoring a ludicrous double hat-trick. We actually finished the game with an XG of over 7 in a horrible afternoon for the opposition goalkeeper, who finished on a 5.8 rating. The semi-final saw us take on familiar foes in Budapest Honvéd, but yet again we continued this ridiculous goal-scoring season and ended up dispatching them 6-1 to see us return to the cup final for the 3rd time in 4 seasons. In the final, we renewed our rivalry with Ferencváros in a closely contested tie. Both teams had the lead in the game before Ricardinho bagged for us to take it into extra time. I thought this game was going to go to penalties until Noel Ferezi jumped highest at the far post to get his head on a free kick to see us lift the trophy. So that's another domestic double in the bag. Let's turn our attention to the Champions League, I guess. Of course, we had to qualify for the competition again and entered in the 2nd qualifying round, where we take on Djurgårdens from Sweden. We were on the road in the first leg and we faced the long trip to Sweden. We opened the scoring but lost the game 2-1, giving us a job to do back home. It turns out that job was comfortable enough to do back in Budapest, as we managed to bag 5 goals without reply to win the tie 6-2 on aggregate. That result meant we moved into the 3rd round, where we faced Ludogorets from Bulgaria. This time we were at home in the first leg and scored right at the start and right at the end of the game to give us a 2-0 lead to take on the road. We struck first in the 2nd leg to give us a nice cushion, which we were able to defend to a 3-1 aggregate win and progress into the next round. It was Serbian side Partizan Belgrade in the Champions playoff, and we had the first leg at home. Partizan opened the scoring, but David Lemos bagged a goal in each half to take a slender lead to the away leg in Serbia. Things got a little crazy in Belgrade as goals went flying in left, right and centre. The game finished 6-2 to us on the night, and we managed to scoop an impressive 8-3 aggregate victory and progression into the league phase for a 2nd season in a row. Our league phase opposition were drawn and we had to face Athletic Bilbao, Club Brugge, Manchester City, RB Leipzig, Fiorentina, Monaco, Liverpool and AC Milan. To my surprise, we managed to pick up some shock results in this competition, as we managed to beat Fiorentina, Monaco and even AC Milan to give some historic nights to these MTK fans. Those results meant we scraped it into the knockout portion of the competition, finishing in 24th with a total of 10 points. Into the knockout portion of the competition we went, and we were drawn against Portuguese giants Benfica. We were at home in the first game that was frantically end-to-end, with the lead changing hands a few times before finishing 3-3, leaving us a lot to do on the road. The away leg in Lisbon proved to be a step too far, as Benfica ran out comfortable winners on the night, scoring 3 goals without a reply to see us exit the Champions League 6-3 on aggregate. But we've taken MTK from the 2nd tier back to the top and secured 3 consecutive league titles. I think they've been rebuilt.